I don't know. I think that might be the next movie, but show wise, isn't there?
I was thinking.
You think you're such a poser?
Привет, comrades! Welcome to the Maganda podcast. I'm your co-host, Matt.
I'm Vince.
And I'm Monica, and we're all in our own squares.
And we're going to be talking about Bleck Veedoh. Here it is.
Oh.
Nice. So happy.
Yep.
Oh man.
You know, for a disappointing movie, I am very happy.
Get out of here, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
Get
I
out of
liked
here.
it.
It's not worth all the delays. I'm telling you right now, disappointed.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I
Dude,
liked it.
I
had to
liked it a
pause
lot.
I paused it and I was like, this is not my world. And I just hit him with disappointed, dude. It was not it. God,
Dude, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
man.
What were you upset about?
I was just done with it. I saw it, and then after it was done, I had Das Vidanya off. I was just done with it. Everything.
You guys saw the post creds?
Yes, which was also
Okay.
disappointing on some bullshit.
They probably just delayed it because of Valentina.
Ugh.
Yeah,
God.
because she was originally supposed to be in that movie. Like that was her first appearance. But I think
Yeah.
because of the pandemic and all that stuff, like they had to include her in Falcon.
All right, I'm gonna do the recap because it's fairly like generic. This is a generic ass plot, guys. First of all, there's nothing
I
interesting about
liked
it.
it.
The reveal was
I
horrible.
like the movie, dude.
How they treated Taskmaster,
Oh,
Whackmaster. First,
yeah,
of all.
Whackmaster.
Okay.
I'll agree with
AKA,
that.
AKA Task Mandarin. Like, get the fuck out.
I
of
I
here.
kind of predicted that when we were
Yeah.
watching it. They made such a big deal about it.
The only good part about this movie was Yelena. That was about it.
She was dope.
Didn't
dude.
their sister bond remind you of our nieces?
I don't know. I just didn't.
Was it because of the delays that is the main thing, really?
I mean,
or is it just the
that contributes to it. The fact that it was delayed and like the hype was able to build, even though it didn't live up to it, which it couldn't have. I feel like even if it was a decent movie, it would have been all right with the delays. But with the delays and the fact that it was super generic, like it just didn't work for me. Should we go to the
Dude.
recap first?
Oh man,
or-
okay.
I got a lot. I got a lot.
I
to
liked
All
it.
right. I liked it too.
unload.
Hit us with the recap though.
All right, so it just starts out with Natasha and she's on the run, or does it start out with them?
It
in the
starts out
childhood?
childhood. It starts out in
okay.
Ohio, 1995.
Okay, yeah. So you just see like a Natasha with the actress, the little kid looks exactly like Scarlett Johansson. I feel like they did a Steve Rogers superimpose on that little kid. He looked like Scarlett in the face. And you see her and Yelena in the yard, and then you see Rachel Weisz's character, who's their mom, and then David Harbour comes back, and it's like he has like a laminate. So from the first appearance, you get the sense that he works in some kind of facility. And then like he's talking to Rachel Weisz and he's like, I got it or whatever like that. Like I got something. Does he show the disc?
Yeah, he does.
He eventually does.
It's the only. He said it's the only one not on fire. He tells her.
That's right. That's right. And then like David Harbour's character and Rachel Weisz's character talk to each other and it's like, okay, the day has come. We got to go. Then he sits down and it's like, girls, remember that adventure I told you we were going to be going on? Well, it's going to be today.
It's
And they
important.
pack up.
It's
Yeah.
important to note that the mom said, "I don't want to do this." Like there's some hesitation before they pack up.
As soon as that part started, I was like, I don't want to do this either.
Get out of here.
So they pack up their car, they pack in guns, they don't pack anything like sentimental. Scarlett Johansson's little character, she goes to grab like a photo book, but then
Yeah,
the mom's like,
like
no,
a-
don't
yeah.
go
Leave
get your
it.
shoes or something.
Yeah.
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 And they pack up the car, they're like on the run, down the street on their block, you see like a bunch of cops, like they set up a blockade kinda. And so they drive past that. And then they drive to this like field where you learn there's a plane in like a hangar. It's like one of those like 4-person planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the cars too, you eventually notice that it's Shield. It's like the
Yeah.
OG Shield logo
the
and
OG
everything.
Shield. Yep. So they're getting chased. And what was it? Like 80s?
It was 95.
90. Yeah.
Oh, 95. Okay. All right. So yeah, so they're trying to make a getaway in the plane. I really liked when David Harbour's character like lifted that shit out of the way. That part was
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that was like the first introduction.
You get a sense that he's got serum in him.
Yeah.
And he moves that out of the way. They hop in the plane, but David Harbour stays back with a gun to like fend off Shield while the girls get away. And like during that whole chase scene, the mom gets shot. She's the pilot. She gets shot, and then she asks Natasha to help her like take off.
Yeah.
And then like Red Guardian basically jumps on the wing, and he's like holding off the shield while they're trying to take off. And then at the last second, Natasha's able to take off in the plane. They cruise to Cuba, and then that's when it's finally revealed that these are all agents. They're undercover, like they're an undercover sleeper cell for the Russians, and their job was to like steal some high priority information from the Americans. And then they split up the girls, and you see this emotional moment between Natasha and
I like that scene.
Yelena.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But I like she like
Don't touch her.
one of the soldiers grabbed Yelena's arm,
Yeah,
and then she
dude.
like kicked it and then pulled his pistol, and she's like, I will kill you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
kill
dude.
all of you. Don't touch her.
Listen to her.
Dude.
Vanya Shannon Aronino. Listen to her.
But they
That's
say
like how ferocious she is, like off the bat.
because she was like, she's only 6, don't touch her. And they're like, you were younger than her. So she's aware, Natasha's aware that this was a mission the whole time. It feels older than 95.
Oh, that's right.
Just
yeah.
it feels
She
older
knows,
than
but then
95.
Yelena
just-
never knew.
yeah, it feels older than 1995 just because they're imitating like the perfect like family household from America. They're like, Yelena likes the American Pie song and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they tried to be like super cookie cutter to fit their agenda.
Oh,
And
that's right.
you can see pretty much off the bat too the differences between Yelena and Natasha. Yeah, Natasha's older, but you can see that Yelena is just the very innocent type. Like she doesn't realize what's going on, but Natasha, she already has a clue what is going on. She already knows to protect her, and she is in that big sister type mode already. So you can see that she is just straight up already like mature, already like conditioned kind of,
And she says like Yelena is 6 and it was a 3-year mission. So that's part of why Yelena never knew that it was like a mission, because she was only 3. You don't have your long-term
Yeah.
memory until then. So
right.
We also find out later that she didn't know that those weren't her actual parents, but we can recap that when we get to that part.
I think she knows, but she didn't realize that was
When
everything was fake.
At the dinner table when they're grown up, she said, I didn't even know you guys weren't my real parents. Like you were mama and you were papa.
No,
Yeah.
I think the scenario she said was real to her, because early before that, her and Nat are talking about, did you find your birth parents? And she was like, my family, I
I'm
rewrote
saying that when Yelena was a kid, she didn't know that.
Oh yeah, when she was a kid, she didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then don't interrupt me, motherfucker. I'll kill you. I'm just playing, Kuya. I'm just trying to do a recap like you, Kuya. All right, this is straight off the top. Okay, I have no specifics.
I'm surprised how much you memorized, because you said you hated the film. You didn't just wipe it from your memory.
But anyway, Cuba. Oh, you skipping, bro. You skipping and you tripping. So let me get to this. Back at Cuba, everyone kind of gets separated. So the mom is like in critical condition. You see the soldiers haul her off on a gurney and they put her in a truck and then they drive away. Red Guardian is like, enough of this undercover. Like, I want to get back in action. I want to get my suit back. So he's not even invested in the fact that, his family is breaking apart. His family is breaking apart. The only ones who really react emotionally are the girls. And so we see them get put in a truck, and then the credits start and you just see like a bunch of young girls being trafficked and some of them being separated from the others. We're left to assume that this is how they get people for the Red Room. They separate that. Dreykov says something to the effect of like, separate the weak, or like get rid of the defects or something like that. And also Dreykov was the one Red Guardian was talking to when he said, I want to get back in action.
Right.
So we kind of get a glimpse into who's running the Red Room. And then from there, it cuts to like right after Civil War, where Nat is on the run from General Ross. they do that whole trope of, oh, we're closing in on her, and then she's like on a boat or something, and then it shows
Yeah.
her like globetrotting. We see her stop in like Norway, and then she like, we never get the name of her little accomplice, like his name
Yeah.
never comes up.
The
That guy
guy's
was
name
cool.
the guy's name is Mason,
Rex
but
Ma-
we don't
Rex
like,
Mason, and at first it was speculated that he was going to be Taskmaster
Mm.
because he was the only other dude in the role, but it wasn't. It's just some dude that she goes to get like contraband and like escape stuff.
yeah.
Private contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where she stops off at, and then it cuts to, or even before this, it probably cut to Yelena and what she's doing when she's grown up, and basically she's still doing like wet work. She's like, she and another Black Widow looking character are on rooftops, like with sniper rifles, and they've got eyes on the target, and there's like a package they're keeping eyes on. And the target makes them. She runs out into the city that they're in, and then Yelena pursues. Them two get into a fight, and then in the middle of that fight, like they're fighting over the package. You don't know what's in it until Yelena has her pinned, and then when she rolls her over, she gets sprayed with red fart.
She pulled a Winter Soldier. She had the knife and then she dropped it and like stabbed her.
She did. That was
Yeah.
The fight scenes are all right. The fight scenes are okay. I wasn't too impressed. I gotta say.
I like them.
I mean,
I liked them.
They're good, but it's stuff we've never. I mean, it's stuff we've already seen before.
That's true. A lot of the fight scenes, I like to. Winter Soldier and like that movie, Captain America: Winter Soldier, like that fight scene.
The fight scenes in there, yeah, that was
like set the pace
like
for all their fight scenes.
Yeah. So those are like kind of my standards. And stuff. So yeah, I agree that it was good. I liked it, but not that standard.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that they're pursuing another woman, I was like, I wonder if they're pursuing a widow that like left the community or something.
So you don't. Yeah, you think that it's still the same old, like we control them by conditioning them psychologically to stay. But then when Yelena gets sprayed with that gas, it's discovered that they're actually being physically controlled to be compliant. And then we see Dreykov on his little computer
chemically
console.
controlled.
Yeah, it's like a detox antibody or something.
Yeah. And then it says like the console that Dreykov's on, it says one's defected. And so like, oh, can we activate Taskmaster protocol? And then that happens. I don't know if we actually see Taskmaster then though.
We do. You see the person who said like we need to activate it, that widow, plug something into Taskmaster's neck.
Right.
And then you see that they're watching like the fight from Civil War. So you see like
oh, that's right. It shows him in
Hawkeye.
like a big ass room with a screen, and he's just
it was like a top down where he's observing like Hawkeye's fighting style and stuff.
Yep. But anyways, cut to Yelena. She's like out of it, and then she
recognizes the widow.
The Black Widow. She knows. No, they knew they were chasing a widow for defecting.
But after she gets sprayed, she says her name. She's like, "What did I do?" and stuff like that.
Did the widow who died say anything else to her? She
gave her the vials, and then she said, "Set them free" or something like that.
All right. So then we find out that the red vials are the key to setting free the other Black Widows. And then where does it go from there?
From there, we go back to the safe house, the trailer that
that's right.
Natasha is in. And I called this one, what is his name? The Mason was like, "Oh yeah, I brought all your stuff from Budapest." And I was like, "Hey, is that the box that Yelena had?" And at first it just looks like a bunch of junk mail that Natasha's gonna get rid of. So she throws it into her car because he said you have to drive into town to throw all your trash away and stuff like that. She goes into town that night because the generator failed, so she's gonna go get gas also. And that's when we first encountered Taskmaster because he blows up her car.
I knew something was coming, but that scared the shit out of me.
That shit caught me.
Yeah, dude, that scared me.
Hit her with an RPG that like pushes the car part way off the bridge, and then we see Taskmaster walking up while she's dangling, and then you just hear
But that scene was cool. Like I liked kind of that first introduction.
It was definitely a throwback to how Winter Soldier came.
Yeah. Definitely those vibes. And I liked I just like that first introduction, and then it you see that Taskmaster mimics Black Widow style, like when they land and they kind of look at each other, and then you kind of see through
Hey,
the eyes
you and
of
Kuya playing hide and go seek in the dark.
Just looking at each other.
But you see kind of, I guess, opposite of Iron Man, where you see Iron Man's head and then you see what like the screen that he's looking at. But
Oh, you see
for
the
Taskmaster, it's
scanners.
just yeah, and you see it's kind of analyzing like kind of pressure points, I think, right? And it says like 99% something like it kind of analyzes what Black Widow might do and stuff like that. So I thought that was a cool little
And he had a cap shield with like Widow markings. It was like silver and then with red on it. But at first she thinks that he's with General Ross, so she didn't know about the Taskmaster protocol or anything like that. And so they fight, and she thinks that he's trying to take her in, but then he redirects and tries to get the box with the vials. And she's like, "Oh, you're not after me." And then she pulls a Spider-Man where she like shoots his legs and then shoots the bridge. And then she gets the vials and jumps off the bridge.
The part where she gets Taskmaster's legs and then it shoots him up, but then he already like knows to cut it down, and like I just thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like he's basically just always kind of one step ahead in a way.
Instant reflexes.
That was
yeah.
cool. I like the part where she ended up with the shield. How did that
Yeah. So he threw it out the car and then she grabbed it to like block his hits. I was like, that's the only time we're gonna see her using a cap shield.
and then
she always uses the shield though somehow.
She
like
does in Ultron.
In Ultron, I forgot about that.
But then he comes in with a dope ass kick and it kicks her
Yeah,
off. She ricochets off the car and then goes off the bridge. And then after the kick, he like does little swords. That part was dope. That part I got Taskmaster vibes off of.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought Taskmaster's choreography was lacking. Like it wasn't always clear who he was mimicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way you really knew is when he was utilizing their weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if they did callbacks to actual moves, like I wanted to see.
He did the flip.
I wanted to see what's it? Black Panther's kick on Hawkeye. Yeah, that one, or like the one where he like remember when he snaps the bow and then he does like this little side air kick or something like that, like something iconic.
Yeah.
Or maybe Cap's move where he was running to that machine gunman and then he jumps over him and then he slams him down by the collar of his neck. Something iconic from the movies that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I disliked was I wanted to see more of different styles being utilized by Taskmaster and just making it clear that it was this character he was doing and then this character that he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was
that I get you. I
was fully expecting to see that Captain America Batroc, or like when Captain America knocked out Batroc in the beginning of Winter Soldier, like on that boat when he does a little somersault.
Yeah.
Like that would have been very noticeable. Things like that.
Yeah.
And when he threw Cap's shield, he didn't really do the little air twist. He does when he like does the little flip in the air and then throws.
Oh yeah. He kind of did that flip off of the car and to land when they like mimicked each other.
I guess.
But not to throw the shield.
Yeah.
So Widow ends up in the water. She somehow gets to shore, pulls out.
Actually, before that, sorry. In the fight, I think there was a part where Widow does her little the little Hurricane Rana. And then
he does it back
on his feet and then back to her. So that part was clear.
Yeah.
That part was a good mimic, but other than that, it was kind of just regular fighting.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, she ties his legs up, ties him to the bridge, and while he's distracted, gets the vials out of the case, ends up in the water, gets to shore, and then she pulls the vials out, and inside is a picture that she had saved from when they were kids to show that it was from Yelena, and it wasn't like a trap or anything, like it really was from her because it was them as kids. And it's one of those like picture booths with the 4 pictures. And then so she goes back to Budapest. And did you want to continue or do you want me to keep going? I kind of took over.
I'm done with it. Went to Budapest and nothing happens. There's no backstory in Budapest, even though it's hyped up. Goddamn,
there is.
Oh, are there bullets? No, those are arrows. Anyways, moving right along.
Dude, that was
that's it. That's it. They didn't even touch it. They didn't even have a little flashback or anything to give more backstory on Budapest.
They said what happens later.
It was almost as bad as Nick Fury's eye.
Yeah, that shit was bad.
But anyway, so she ends up in Budapest. She sees her sister Yelena, and they don't know if they can trust each other because Natasha was indoctrinated through just psychological programming. But then, like we said, Yelena had like the neurological, like actually controlling your body without you being able to stop it kind of thing. So they get into a fight scene. They're pretty evenly matched, and then they call truce. And then she's like, what the hell is this vials? Like, why'd you send this to me? I liked it.
Yeah.
And then she said, like, well, you're an Avenger. Your scientists can like figure out how to make more, basically. And she's like, well, if you haven't seen, like, I'm on the run. She's like, great, perfect timing. And then that's when the other widows come to attack them. So they have to escape. And then they do this crazy fight or crazy chase scene. And that's when we see from the trailer, the Taskmaster come out of the tank with the arrow to explode their car. They end up hiding in their version of the subway. And she's like, oh, me and Barton had to hole up here for 2 days. And it shows like them tic-tac-toe and stuff like that. So it shows evidence like their relationship, whatever. And we find out that in order to leave the widows, the last thing she had to do to defect to S.H.I.E.L.D. was that her and Clint had to take out what's his name again? Dreykov, the leader of the widows.
And then you find out, wait, do we find that out later about his daughter?
No, we find out because they keep asking, like, Yelena kept saying, like, you said nothing about his daughter. What about his daughter? And we find out.
She was also questioning, like, did you see a body?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Because
like leaving out details.
Yeah, back in the apartment, Yelena tells her that the Black Widow program is still in effect and the Red Room still exists. And then Natasha's like, what are you talking about? I killed Dreykov. Who's leading the Black Widows? I thought like they were dismantled. And she's like, well, how do you know? And she's like, oh, well, I killed him. Barton and I exploded like 4 stories on top of him and there's no body to examine. And she was like, you're leaving out the details. And like, he's still alive and still operating the Red Room program. So yeah, that's it.
I have a quick question. Going back to the chase scene, when Taskmaster used the arrow.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's him copying Hawkeye, or because in the comics, I know that he also has a bow and arrow for a weapon. So like, is that from Hawkeye, or is that like just one of his regular weapons?
That is from Hawkeye, and that is one of his regular. Well, not regular. It's usually a shield and a sword. But yeah, occasionally you'll see him with a bow and arrow, and I think he was copying Hawkeye. But again, it's hard to tell because it would have been much easier to know his powers, and then they wouldn't even have had to explain it. They already showed him watching footage and analyzing. And if he did like one of Hawkeye's iconic, like if something distracted him and he just shot without looking,
yeah,
that would have been like, oh, he's copying Hawkeye right there.
Or just be like, it would be my honor.
Something like that. I wish it could have been told visually.
Yeah.
More than verbally.
I get.
Yeah.
Show don't tell in that sense. But I was gonna say something else. Oh, so we find out about Dreykov's daughter, and then finally it makes sense, like what Loki was saying in Avengers 1 when he was trapped in that little glass cell, and he was like, "Your ledger is dripping." Dreykov's daughter, like he mentions that, and we're like, who the fuck is that? And finally, it comes to fruition. We get to know.
We find out that final mission before she defected to S.H.I.E.L.D., she thought she was killing the leader of the Black Widow, but she had to be sure that he was actually present in the building before they exploded it. And what they did was they tailed his 9-year-old daughter, like adolescent daughter.
Something like that.
She was going into his office and they...
Nine is German. Niet.
Nine.
She was tailing her, could see the daughter from the window. They're like, Nat, do we have a visual? And she said, it's all clear. And then they exploded the building. So she said that the daughter was collateral damage in order to make sure that he was dead, because she could identify that her dad was really in the building when they exploded it. And so that's like one of the really big regrets that you see Nat has. And like even when they're being chased by the widows through the city, one of the widows climbs onto the vent while they're like tumbling, and she's like, "I got you," and then she like basically tries to save her life, but then the widow's still fighting her. And then even when that widow falls from like a couple stories and she's like basically crippled, she like raises her glove, and then she's like, "Don't do this." She's like, "I don't want to do this. He's making me." And she like explodes her face.
And she's like, "Hail Hydra."
So that's like
Got a
the
widow's
that-
bite right to the eye.
yeah, and that was the biggest I think turning point for Nat to believe Yelena's story that he's really alive, because she's like, "Oh shit, he's really controlling them still." And then from there they're like trying to find the red room, but then Yelena says that it moves all the time, and the way that they move the widows is that they knock them all out upon entrance and exit of every new location, so they never quite know where the current red room is. And then Yelena gets the first thing that she bought for herself as a free woman, which is a vest. Talking about pockets.
A lot of that whole scene basically with just the sisters kind of rehashing and stuff like that, and their chemistry just as actors are really good. And I was really surprised with Florence Pugh, I think that's her
Florence
name. Like
Pugh.
that's the first time I've ever seen her in something, and I thought she did a really good job. And just
Yeah.
You saw her in Midsummer. Go watch that movie. It's great.
Yeah,
Midsummer?
she's great in
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I watched that.
Yeah, that movie's not scary at all. You'd like it.
Oh fuck! Oh hell no! Dude. You're trying to trick me? What the heck? Okay, Dracoff. God damn.
You said it wasn't scary. Anyway. But in that little gas station,
Good banter.
she also
Why
brings
do
up,
you do this?
she's like, "Why do you do the thing when you fight?" Like
That was hilarious.
Like everyone's watching you.
like everyone's watching you.
You're such a poser.
You totally noticed it in all the other movies.
She like slowly goes to the ground like that thing. Why do you do that?
And she just like, even though they're both they're of course trained assassins, but like they're dynamic, they're still kind of that big sister, little sister, and she's like still
roasting
joking
each
with
other.
her and stuff. Yeah. So that scene basically just describes kind of their relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really like that dynamic with them.
Yeah, it was perfect. And Nat even says like, "You weren't really my sister, and like, why didn't you come look for, like, where did you think I was this whole time if you thought the Black Widow program was disbanded?" And she's like, "I don't know, I thought you were just living your life." But basically, like, as soon as Nat got out, like even the collateral damage of like killing Dreykov's daughter, like at that point she just hit her breaking point. Like she just wanted to get out and like didn't want anything to do with the program, so she didn't even seek out her sister or her manufactured sister, because it's not her blood sister. They're just put into a family unit for that 3-year stint. But yeah, as soon as she made it to the Avengers, like she just wanted to what did she say in that movie? Like, "I got a lot of red in my ledger," and like trying to make a difference. But Yelena points out like there's still pain in the world, like, and we're still trained assassins, like you're not making that much of a difference.
She said, "We're both trained assassins, but I'm not the one little girls look up to and call hero."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, bože moi." And then she's like, "Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's get some borscht." And I'm like, "Yes."
And then at that scene, they also, while they're talking, and Black Widow is kind of patching up
Her arm.
Yelena's arm, they kind of notice, a family messing with their car, or like fixing up a car or whatever. And then that's when they hijack the car, and then they have more banter, and then a funny scene of Yelena talking about the vest.
There's so
It has
many
all these
pockets. You'd never know.
Yeah. And then
And
from there, is that where they talk about like the next steps on what they're going to do, like who they need to
Yeah, they're like,
talk to?
"Where can we go now to find the red room?" And they basically decide to break or to locate Alexei, which is Red Guardian, because he was so chummy with the leader.
Yeah.
I forget the location of where he is, but he's basically in a prison.
Some Russian prison, and
It's
then
an
he's
Yeah, I forgot.
just like he's arm wrestling a bunch of people in a row, and he's telling like his Red Guardian stories, and then someone calls him out like because he was telling a story about how he went toe to toe with Captain America, and then the dude was like, "When did that happen?" And he was like, "I don't know, 80 something."
80,
And
yeah.
the dude was like, "Captain America was still in the ice."
In the ice, yeah.
And then Red Guardian breaks his arm.
Dude,
He's like, "Are you calling me a liar?"
That was hella
Slams
funny.
it down. It's all like flabby.
But then he gets some mail, and then it's like a toy of him. The head pops off, and there's an earpiece in it, and then he puts it in, and then it's Nat and Yelena on comms, and they break him out. It's this whole set piece involving a helicopter and an avalanche, and then they get away. And then like as soon as he's in the helicopter, like he's like he kind of picks. I don't know how to describe it. He's like he came off as sentimental.
He's very boisterous. He's very boisterous.
And he's all about like
the good old days.
Yeah, no, not just that, but like the glory days of being Red Guardian. He wasn't really invested.
Yeah.
He kind of treats it like a chore.
Yeah.
And that kind of like triggers Yelena to some degree.
You forgot
both of them, yeah.
You forgot Yelena's like, this would be a cool way to die.
Yeah, and they like you said, he's trying to kind of live the glory days and then kind of just brushes past that they haven't seen each other for 20 something years. And that's kind of like the first kind of conversation that he has with them. And they're just like, really? You're going to talk about that? And then from they
ask him where to find Dracoff. And he was like, oh, my buddy, he threw me in prison. He was like, sold me on glory and patriotism. And then like I could have been just as famous as Captain America, but instead he threw me in prison. So like he's very like not hurt. He just was like, what the fuck, man? Like he used me and abused me.
His hang up isn't that he lost like his family. It's that he didn't get to be Red Guardian after that.
Yeah. And then they once they figure out that he doesn't really know, where Dracoff is, because he kind of like hates him in a way or just has that vendetta against him. He basically says like, we need to find your mother.
Melina. Yeah,
Melina. Yeah. So that's the next stop. So somehow they end up like wherever they land because they run out of gas. That's like exactly where
he says
it's outside of St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. He's like,
we don't have enough gas to get to St. Petersburg.
We'll make it, trust me.
And then it just falls out the
But both the girls thought that that Melina was dead. And we actually found out, I think we found out earlier, it was a contemporary from Melina's time as a Black Widow that actually formulated the like the antidote to the programming. So like it's deep cuts that are like old widows that are trying to like now bring the program down. But we happen upon, they're like,
and then so we
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We're outside of St. Petersburg. They're just walking. And then Red Guardian keeps asking like, so did you talk about me? Like asking about Captain America. And she's like, for real, like we haven't seen each other for 20 years. The first thing you ask about is like, if Captain America noticed you, like.
And I'm going to go on record right now and say that whoever's trying to make the new super soldier should be getting it from Alexei because his serum is like up there.
Still strong.
Like, it's not some weak ass John Walker serum. I don't know. How am I going to rate it? I feel like his serum is right below Cap's. And Cap's is on par with the heart-shaped herb. And then below that is kind of like the John Walker serum. Actually, no. I would say it's Cap and Black Panther, then Red Guardian, then Bucky, and then the other, the John Walker.
Yeah.
And what's it? Those people. I already forgot the name of their organization, but they all died. So Black Smashers.
Yeah.
But anyways, so then we end up at a pig farm and Melina's controlling pigs on an iPad.
Slight right. The best GPS ever.
I was already done with the movie before this point, but then I was really done with it.
Well, you find out that so Alexei says like, yeah, he was my buddy. Dracoff was my buddy, but Melina was his scientist. So like a lot of the he called her his architect. So a lot of the program was like built on her shoulders.
Then we get a dinner scene and everyone's reconnecting. And then you kind of see that the parents, I mean, they're fully aware that it was just a mission, but you still see like Florence Pugh. She's quiet the whole time. She's like taking it in because this is all like she still considers them her family, and to see them talk
I
about
love
it
that
so
scene.
like
That was such a good
so
scene.
cavalier and like dismissive, it's hurtful because she actually considers them her family. Nat's kind of in the middle where like she knew it was a mission, but she still felt a connection to him as family.
Yeah.
But like she's still trying to,
She's really resentful because like
Yeah.
she has a lot of anger towards like failing to kill Drake off. The parents like trying to like treat them as kids, but also saying like Red Guardian was like, I was so bored on that mission, and then the
Right.
mom being very clinical about it, like even though I wasn't really your mother, like you guys never slacked when I was around and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
it was
they
a
kinda went-
weird borderline between their roles and who they
And
really
sh-
were.
and then also like I guess the kind of mother in Melina kind of came out again because she was just like, Natasha, don't slouch, and like she's like, I'm not like that whole kind of dynamic in that scene it was like funny, but also like I really felt it too, especially when Yelena just like started like yelling all that stuff when she was just spilling out all her emotion, just saying like, you guys were real, like you were my mother, you were my father, and you were my sister, all that stuff. And like so that was a really good scene. And then she kind of storms out, and the mom and Black Widow, they kind of have a conversation, and then Red Guardian eventually leaves and talks to Yelena.
Before that, during the dinner conversation, Melina reveals like what exactly the Ohio mission was about.
Yeah.
So they weren't stealing technology, they're stealing like how to control people's will. And she has one of the pigs like open a door, walk in, sit like a dog, and like stop breathing. Cause she said like our control is so precise that you can literally tell them to stop breathing and they have no ability except to comply. And the whole time, like Yelena's silent, they're asking like, do you know how they tested this, where they tested this, blah, blah, blah. And Yelena was like, they tested it on me. So basically like all the widows are what came of Melina's research. When it's kind of weird because like Red Guardian and Melina were kind of on the borderline where they're still kind of glorifying like the Red Room program, where they're like, oh, like this technology, like our stint in Ohio was so like we unlocked the key to people's free will, and like kind of glorifying the mission and stuff like that.
And at the same time, the pig is just struggling, dude. And like yeah, dude. Like and eventually Black Widow and Yelena, they're just like, are you gonna stop? And then just as an audience too, like I was just like, are they just gonna forget that the pig is like,
motherfucker, that's dinner.
Yeah,
No blood. It's all good. It's neat. Killed himself. All right, cook yourself. All right, delicious.
He could have survived another 11 seconds.
So when Yelena storms out, Red Guardian goes to her and they try to have like a moment, but like, every time he talks, he kind of like fucks it up because he's just talking about bullshit. He tells a story about how when he was fishing as a boy, he like fell into a cold pond and like his dad peed on his hands to keep it from getting frostbite. And she was like, what does this have to do with anything? And he's like, dads. That part was pretty funny. I like that.
That was pretty funny.
And then he sings Bye Bye Miss American Pie, and that was her favorite song as a kid. So that kind of brings them together. While that's happening, Black Widow and Melina are having a moment, and she's kind of being all clinical about it. Like, I cycled 3 times through the Red Room. This is the world that I've lived in. It's all about the mission. And then she says like something to the effect of, don't get sentimental or something like that. And then Natasha spots the book that she was trying to get as a kid when they had to like pick up and
the
leave.
photo album. Yeah.
And then she kind of, even though it's all full of fake memories, there's still some sentiment attached to it, because she said like, I remember we posed for Easter, Christmas, and birthdays,
Thanksgiving,
all in one day, like with different sets. And she was like, even though there's nothing in the presents, I still wanted to open them because it felt real or something like that. And then Melina says, I already called the Red Room. They're going to be here any minute. So
she's like, I'm sorry.
You still get you're given the impression that she's still a company woman. She's not really invested in the family. And then we see all these like planes come in, and then Taskmaster and some lackeys. And when it cuts back to the house, we see Natasha on the floor out cold.
Red Guardian gets taken out first with the
yeah.
one. He's like, "You think this can
dude,
take me down?" It's like, it's like
Yeah.
Hecka darts.
He got Ace Ventura, dude. 3 darts is too many.
That part hella made me laugh, dude. The dart, the hella darts, dude. That got me. That got me.
But yeah, so Yelena kind of like holds his hand and then leaves him behind because she just has to like continue with the mission. So she goes through the house and we don't see Melina, but we see Nat on the floor. And then that's when she turns and then Melina's there in her widow costume. She's like, "I'm sorry." And she like electrifies her and then goes to Taskmaster and is like, "Let's not keep him waiting." So they're gonna be taken to Dreykov.
And then they're in the like this little what's it? Air
Like a
carrier.
helicarrier type thing.
Yeah. And like Red Guardian comes to and he's like, where are we landing? Or something. She says like we're gonna be landing in like a minute. And he was like, why are we still going higher? And then you find out it's like in the sky behind a cloud is where the red room is.
Which was one of the things that I also didn't like was
you
like,
didn't like that either?
I get that it's, you know, it's a secret and everything, but like how does Shield, how does
Well,
no one else know about it?
Jurisdiction. Shield never had
I
jurisdiction
guess
in Russia.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then
it was just like really no one knows about it.
Yeah. Well,
And
Melina
I
even
don't know.
said like, so when they were running the Ohio stint and she said like, "Oh, at the time it wasn't a government agency we're infiltrating, it was Shield." Well, actually it was Hydra scientists. So it's like there's weird crossover in different places. So like there's always an organization under an organization. Like it reminded me of the helicarriers for Shield, and I'm like, I wonder if the Red Room just appropriated those plans and made their own helicarrier, and then they're just like
maybe
hiding.
Yeah, maybe.
They were basically in the high school from Sky High.
They had classes.
Good ass movie.
Yeah, that fat dude driving the bus. Was the one who brought him. Seatbelts were just like
Sidekick.
movie than this. Anyway. And then we get to everyone. They're like, so Red Guardian and Natasha are in like 2 glass cells that they can't, that Red Guardian can't even break his way out of. Yelena's on an operating table, and then Melina is in a chair in Dreykov's office talking to Dreykov. And you can recap all that because at that point I'm just like, let's just get this over with.
So Yelena is on an operating table because Dreykov said like the whole like anti-serum is giving me a headache, just cut her brain out and figure out how to like undo their undo of our program. So she's trying to make a counter agent. Melina is giving a debrief of everything and like how to, like what happened, the Red Guardian and like Nat, what they're trying to do and all this stuff. And then Nat and the Red Guardian come to, and he's like trying to apologize to Nat about like being a shitty father and like, oh, like when you guys were calling out for me, like I shouldn't have betrayed you. And like he's finally showing regret, but then we find out that it's actually Melina in the cell with him, and both her and Nat get revealed that they're using that face switching technology.
And the way that Natasha is revealed is that Dreykov is saying, you know,
Right.
find Natasha or go to Natasha, put that whatever.
Make her one of your rats or one of your pigs.
Pigs, yeah. So control her. I can imagine what I can do with an Avenger under my command. And then like he touches their face and he's like he said something to the effect of like
the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when
if you've
raised a child, you've raised, yeah.
If you look in the eyes of a child you've raised, like not even a mask can hide it. And then he like pulls off her mask.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, it wasn't a Mission Impossible level reveal.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
I like how Red Guardian's like basically sobbing against the door, like, I can't save us. I'm sorry, I should have stuck with you. And then it opens and he was like, how'd you open it? And she was like, I designed these. Of course I can break out of it.
That's funny.
And then he again tries to apologize to Nat by like holding his ear and like saying his whole apology and stuff. And then you find out that there's only an earpiece between Melina and Yelena. And there's this whole flashback, like basically Melina's telling Nat all of Dreykov's like weaknesses and like how to plan. She's like, oh, I only have 2 earbuds. She was like, I'll give it to Yelena. So the whole thing was planned from the beginning. They're all in on it.
Oh,
But she tells Red Guardian, like, you don't have an earpiece. He's like,
That was so funny.
why don't I have an earpiece?
Melina tells Yelena while she's on the table, like, I put a knife in your like outer thigh or something like that. And
Right,
she,
right,
She
right.
escapes, and then her job is to go get the serum and then go to the widows and free them. And meanwhile, Black Widow's in the office with Dreykov, and at some point, he's like, what is it? How does it get to the point where it's revealed that Taskmaster is someone?
She tries to shoot him in the face, and then there's a pheromone blockage. So basically, like the pheromones he exudes, she can't do anything to hurt him.
No, that's after Taskmaster leaves.
No,
But
it's before.
No, it's not. No,
It's-
Oh, I don't remember.
Listen. This is how it went. They were talking, and then Black Widow says something to the effect of, "Did you feel anything even when I killed your daughter?" And then he walks up to his daughter and is like, says something, and he's like, "Why don't you show him who you really are?" Something like that.
He said like, thank you for my greatest weapon, because
that's
like
right.
she tries to attack him, she can't do it, and then he says like, oh, but everything you've done, like you've given me my greatest weapon, and he reveals that Taskmaster is actually like the exploded body of his daughter that he put a chip into so that she could still move and like she can mimic.
All right, but I'm telling you
she
that
sees.
that didn't come after, because after he reveals who Taskmaster was, and that it's Dreykov's
Then he
daughter,
leaves.
then he leaves, and then Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
She's
Got it.
yeah. You're right.
and then you find out that she can't pull the trigger, she can't stab him with a knife, she can't do any physical violence to him, and then it's revealed that it's this pheromone thing where, as long as she can smell him,
Yeah.
she can't
It was
attack him.
Axe body spray.
But
Hey, I remember when
He's
I
like,
think
bow
along,
chicka wow wow.
and then Jace is in the back with the controller.
Deep cuts,
I
deep cuts.
remember a long time ago, Matt, you said that you saw, I think, a potential spoiler on who.
Yes, and it
Taskmaster
was supposed to be Rex Mason.
Oh, okay, so that
People were
wasn't
saying it was
who-
him.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was the only other dude, and then we find out they did a gender swap, and it's stupid his daughter, and it's a fucking T-800 Terminator, basically. Who just
Yeah.
stands for
Yeah.
I was
Part of the
disappointed.
allure of Taskmaster is that he's like boisterous and he like talks while he fights.
The fact that they kept bringing up the daughter, and like it took a while for them to reveal like who Dreykov was. I mean, like we saw him in the flashback when he greeted Red Guardian after the Ohio mission, but we didn't actually see for a while like if he was really alive or if his daughter was controlling the widows or what exactly their dynamic was. And so I was like, oh man, is Taskmaster either going to be Dreykov or Dreykov's daughter? And it ended up being the daughter.
It's gonna be Dreykov, a fat ass Taskmaster.
No, I thought it was just gonna be like his like brain basically in like an android thing, because you already saw the
Oh
chip
my God.
inserted.
Jesus.
But yeah, I was like,
what a
oh, this
horrible
kind of
way to do Taskmaster. My God.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
disappointed.
I kind of was disappointed
And
too.
eagle-eyed viewers who are keen on actors and actresses might have been able to deduce that it was Dreykov's daughter from the beginning, because when I was watching the credits during the whole, like when they were showing them gathering girls for the Red Room, like during that opening sequence, we see the actress Olga Kurilenko, and she's kind of well known. She was in the Hitman movie. She's that
Oh, yeah.
girl that he's with, and she's been in a bunch of other stuff. But like I was looking out for her the entire movie. I was like, oh, I wonder if she's like an extra widow, but she's not really an extra level actor. Like she
Yeah.
kind of has main parts. So like when I didn't notice her, I could have, like, if I paid more attention or cared more, I could have put it together that she would have been the grown-up daughter who is
In-
now.
In those credits in the beginning, there was a shot of like a surgery, and I thought it was just like them giving the widows hysterectomies, because we found out in a previous Avengers movie that like all the widows are sterilized upon being like captured and transitioned. So I thought it was just that, but it could have been them saving Dreykov's daughter and like turning her basically into an android.
Yeah, so that was kind of it was a shock to me. Like I didn't know who Taskmaster was going to be, but I also was kind of let down, like the
I was
way
just
that
let
they
down
did it.
altogether with the character. Like even if it wasn't Anthony Masters, the fight scenes could have been better. And then even if the fight scenes were better, it's still not Anthony Masters. So it's like it's a lose-lose. Like you're not getting
Yeah.
Taskmaster either way. You're only getting
get
him
it,
in
yeah.
name.
They basically waste the character too, because like they can't really bring him back as like actual Taskmaster. Like they made it an AI program and not someone's like abilities.
People were arguing that since it's linked to tech, then they could just put it in Anthony Masters later on, and he could be the main Taskmaster.
Okay,
But
they did say the whole mind control thing and everything. They said that they, in conjunction with the Winter Soldier program, so like mind control and all that stuff, like they could pull from the original Taskmaster, I guess, because they called it Taskmaster Protocol and not that she was actually Taskmaster. I don't know.
Oh, that's true, I guess. So they can just kind of replace
I guess.
that body.
Yeah.
But so
I read online, like on a forum, people were like, "This is Deadpool and X-Men Origins Wolverine."
Yeah, it was
Like,
kind of a waste.
Yeah. So what's his name? He said Anthony
Masters.
Anthony Masters. So isn't he in the comics? He used to be like a shield agent, right?
I'm not sure if that's canon. I think they did that in a couple of mediums. I'm not sure if that's actually like he has a bunch of different origin stories, but I think one of them is he used to be like a shield agent and then he went rogue.
Oh, okay. So
which is what they could have gone with. They should have gone with that. Like it would have made so much more sense.
I was expecting it to be someone that we probably have seen before, like in the movies or somehow. That's what I was expecting.
I just thought it was going to be like a shield agent that used to be Natasha's colleague.
Yeah.
And then he went rogue. Something like that. I don't know. I have a lot of problems with this movie. We can get into it after the recap. But anyways, during the whole scene where Widow's getting her ass beat by Dreykov, you find out she's kind of instigating it because her whole goal is to break her nose so that she can't smell the pheromones. But during that time, during that time, he reveals how to like operate his console. It's like linked to his ring and his computer.
Yeah, she has him monologuing basically because she's saying like, I have widows everywhere, and it shows like all of their faces popping up on the globe, the global map, and then like he again says like, imagine what I can do with an Avenger, and like I can take advantage of the world's biggest commodity or something, and says that women, there's like too many of them in the world, so he uses them as collateral and as agents. So yeah, go ahead.
It just the whole thing of her monologuing and just really getting Dreykov to explain everything, that's just another strong quality that is Black Widow. Yeah, because she's done that.
That's how she interrogates
Loki.
Yeah.
And she did it. She
kind of
did it in the secretary.
Or secretary? I don't know. Yeah, that old white guy.
Yeah. So I thought that's cool. It just shows another strong point that she has.
Yeah.
And then she breaks her own nose on the table.
Oh yeah, he was like, she was like, you're not quite strong enough to have done what I need you to do. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she breaks her nose. And that's when she was like,
I would have laughed if she knocked herself out.
Sever the nerve.
I'll just shoot you in the head.
So while she has him monologuing, he sent Taskmaster to go fight Red Guardian. And then while they're fighting, Melina is trying to get the helicarrier to land because Nat had activated her tracker beacon so that the US government can find her because she's in violation of the Sokovia Accords. And then Yelena is still trying to locate the vials and locate the widows to detoxify them.
Dreykov finds out the plan. He like locks Melina in the little piloting console. He escapes. She grabs a gun from where she escapes out of a vent, and then she ends up blowing like something up, and then it just comes down that way. She blows up like the fans or the
I like Melina's scenes just because it shows how she's so clinically like she doesn't panic. She was just like, Yelena, slight change of plans. We're going into a controlled fall or something like that. Controlled crash and stuff like that. And then and Red Guardian's just like, I'm not going to be able to to punch something. Like he just wanted to fight. So his whole fight with Taskmaster was
very underwhelming.
Yeah, he's just
very
like,
underwhelming, dude. That's it. That's how you knew he was Black
That's
Panther.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it. They didn't even do any signature moves.
Yeah, that was underwhelming. I agree.
Yeah.
I did notice though, he did do the knife sequence from Winter Soldier when Bucky does the little pop pop and then he flips it in the air, grabs it, pop pop like that.
Yeah.
He did that. That was noticeable, but other than that, there wasn't many like signature combat moves.
Yeah.
So when that's going on too, pretty much you think that Natasha is going to kill Dreykov, and then when she's really about to, she gets stabbed in the back because all the widows are out, and then that's a kind of long fight scene. I thought it was pretty cool, of just the widows attacking Black Widow, and you see she is able to fend off like quite a few.
Yeah, because no one's using the freaking gauntlets. Come on.
Yeah. Only Nat is. She's like her gauntlets on like 7 of them, and they're all using their hit sticks.
Yeah.
It was all right. I mean, again, the fighting is stuff we've seen already. Nothing really too breakthrough. I was kind of hoping Taskmaster would be the exception, but yeah, she holds him off, and then finally we see like before this scene, we see Yelena put a stun grenade in between the vials. So then right when Nat's about to get like overtaken, she's like being held, and then she's getting hit repeatedly.
Right.
And then we just see this big red explosion, and then all of them kind of get reset. They're uncontrolled.
Yeah. That scene where she's being held down and just getting the shit kicked out of her, that gave me like Kill Bill vibes when they kill the bride. I was like, oh man. But at the same time, Dreykov is being escorted by his soldiers to safety. The helicarrier is coming apart, and then he notices that his ring is missing. So Nat was able to grab that, and she downloaded all of the information for the Black Widow program so that they can find and detoxify everyone. It was interesting that stun grenade didn't explode all the vials. There's 2 that Nat was able to grab. So she grabbed the 2 vials and grabbed the disc with all the information, and then is trying to hustle her way to escape. And then after the Taskmaster fight scene, they're able to trap Taskmaster in one of those holding cells that was keeping the Red Guardian like stuck. So Yelena and Red Guardian meet back up. They get into one of the planes, and they're like waiting for the girls. They're like, do you see them? And like trying, their platform collapses. So they're flying, and then they have to go back. She's like, we have to get them. And then Red Guardian somehow ends up with Taskmaster's shield, and he uses it. He does the cap throw to get one of the soldiers off the windshield, but it ends up hitting their wing, and then they end up just like crashing somewhere. And then Yelena they got separated, I think. Oh, because Nat stayed behind to download all of the data. So Yelena's already trying.
Too, and she's
Natasha
also
trying to.
She comes across Taskmaster, and she's like trying to apologize.
Oh yeah.
She frees her, and she says, I know you're still going to come after me, but I think you're still in there. And then we see Yelena, and she's chasing down Dreykov's helicopter, or whatever, aircraft, and she is basically like perched on top of it, ready to put like her stick in the propeller so that it like blows up. And then Natasha's like, you don't have to do that. And then she does it. It blows up. She gets like knocked unconscious, and she's falling. She's in free fall. Dreykov completely burns up. We see his glasses burn up, and that's kind of confirmation that dude's dead forever. And then Natasha goes after Yelena with a parachute. She puts the parachute on Yelena, deploys it. She sees that Taskmaster is falling towards them, so then she kind of jumps off of her and then onto like some kind of panel, and then she and Taskmaster have a fight. She deploys Taskmaster's parachute. They fall to the ground. They get into it. Somehow Black Widow's able to win.
Yeah, well, it's because she does that Hurricane Rana thing to get the helmet off of Taskmaster, and then one of the red vials ends up on the floor, and she uses her gauntlet to deploy it. So then it knocks out the daughter, and she kind of confirmed, like the daughter the whole time was like, is he gone? Like, because she's just as terrorized by Dreykov as all the other widows and traumatized.
That was very underwhelming to me too.
Yeah, and she was like,
I really wanted
I
I
thought
wanted a long fight scene.
I thought
Yeah.
that the serum was gonna blow up, and
But she's
it
still
wouldn't
gonna
affect
be-
her. She would have been like,
yeah.
"Yo, you tried to kill me. I'm for real mad at you. Like I'm not being a
Yeah.
joke." I thought that was gonna be the twist, but no. Just
It
mind
it was
control.
a tidy bow for not, because she had like so much remorse for everything, especially killing an innocent little girl after like millions of innocent little girls. Because Yelena had this whole speech earlier where it's like 20 girls go into the red room and one of them becomes a widow, the rest are executed. So they're just like continually cycling through all these women. And the fact that Nat had to kill one of the little girls was like really haunting her the whole movie. So that gets wrapped up. She finds Yelena passed out and they kind of reconcile. And she's like, I'm sorry, I said that it wasn't real for me. It was real, you're my sister. And then they end up meeting up with Red Guardian and Melina. And Melina, she's like, is everyone all right? And then Melina's like, I am obviously injured.
She's like,
super clinical to the end.
The way she delivered that line, it reminded me of Get Smart when she was like, "I already have boyfriend." Something hotter. I already have boyfriend. Anyways,
but yeah, so what's his face is closing in on them. Oh, what's his name again?
Thunderbolt Ross.
Ross, yeah.
And then
So
we see the widows come in on their little air carrier.
they came back.
They take up everybody except Natasha. And I guess it's just implied that she's going to stay there to face the consequences because somehow.
Well, so yeah, so the whole thing with them trying to capture Nat is that she assaulted T'Challa. So that's the main reason why they're bringing her in, was for violating the Sokovia Accords and assaulting a monarch.
But there's hella shield cars there, so you have to assume she was captured. Yeah, but somehow she escapes.
But before she's captured, or before, we don't see that confrontation with Ross, but she gives the disc about the Red Room and everything to Yelena, and it's like saying like, it's basically your mission now. Melina has to deconstruct one of the vials. I still saved one. And you have to tell them that the mission is over. So there's like thousands and thousands of women. So they even take Dreykov's daughter. They go away and do their whole side mission. I guess we'll find out about that later. And then it fast forwards to when Nat is finally a blonde. Because you see in the trailer, originally she was going to color her hair when she was going to go on the run and all that stuff. But she didn't get a chance to. Yelena gives her vest. So she has that.
She's wearing it.
Yeah. And then
so you see where it basically picks up like so the time frame, it's after Civil War and then it's to Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because that's when you see when she's blonde, where she is wearing the vest. So that's where it picks up.
Mason hooks her up with a Quinjet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That scene too. And then she says too, like, she is she says she's gonna go.
She says, I have two families, or I always wanted a family. It turns out I have two. One of them's kind of a mess. I'm gonna go fix it. And so basically she uses the Quinjet, and this is when they break. It's the post scene after Civil War when they go to break out the people that are in the raft.
Yeah, so it's like implied that she helped Steve Rogers get those people out of the raft. Yeah. And maybe there's no scene of it, but like when Ross was there, Secretary Ross, maybe she struck a deal with him somehow where it's like, I will help get you Steve Rogers or something like that.
I think she just was slippery. I feel like she probably
here's what escaped. I think. I think there's no way she escaped with how many cars were there.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think they took her into custody. I think she just slipped out of it later.
I don't think so. I think they let her go because she brought down something, like she brought down the Red Room, which stole something from S.H.I.E.L.D. all those years ago. And like, there was like some politics being played where she actually, like no, because she's still on the run. So maybe you are right. She did get slippery and escape, because after this is Infinity War and they're still being hunted by Ross. So I don't know. Maybe she did escape.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most likely outcome. And then post-credit scene, which was stupid as fuck.
Well, so when she left her Red Room family, they're like, are you okay? Like, we'll stay with you. We fight as a family. And she's like, no, I got this. And I was like, she don't got this, because we all know what happened at Endgame. But the post-credit scene is Yelena. Yelena said, like, I always wanted a dog. She finally has a dog. She named it Fanny after one of the identities that Mason tried to give to Nat when she was on the run. And she's clearing off Nat's gravestone. And they have this whole like whistle thing as sisters. So it's just her
I
grieving.
thought I was gonna hear the whistle.
Yeah,
I
I
was
did
like,
too.
no way.
Like,
I was
yo,
like, don't do it. Don't
I got
do
the
it.
reality stone. I'm alive.
I thought that I was gonna hear the whistle too.
And that's the thing too, like how it's an empty grave, right? Because her body
Oh yeah,
is still
Yeah.
in Vormir.
It's just
you know?
symbolic. Yeah, something
Yeah.
to visit.
And then also, like, how do they know that she's dead, right? Because
No, because the Avengers told everybody.
Yeah,
They
who
probably
the
said, like,
casualties.
yeah, that they probably named all the casualties because like Endgame had a bunch of death tolls. So
Yeah, like
Oh,
they
okay,
had,
okay.
yeah, because they
That
had
was
a
one of
funeral
my questions,
for
was like-
Tony Stark, and I'm
Right.
sure they said like let's honor our fallen, probably, because she's a
okay,
hero.
so it's kind of
so.
like implied in a way.
Yeah, I don't think anyone like went to tell her, because Yelena even said, like, when you became an Avenger, I always expected to see Captain America taking down the Red Room. She's like, what are you talking about? The Red Room's gone. So she never actually notified the Avengers that this is a problem we have to take down.
Mhm. And
Um,
at the cemetery, after the whistle, you know, you pretty much see who's there with her, and it reveals to be Contessa.
Contessa Valentina.
Yeah, so she comes in, and it's basically revealed that Yelena has been working with her already, right? So she and Yelena says, like, you know, it's my day off. Like, you know, I can't be bothered on my day off. And she's like, well, I wanted to give you your next mission in person. And then she gives her the iPad, and it reveals that it is Clint Barton. And then she's like, your next target is responsible for Nat's death,
Yeah,
which is weird to me too, because who knows what happened on Vormir? Did they?
well, she was like,
did they ever
how-
say like what
she's like,
happened
how-
exactly?
she said, how would you like to take down the man responsible for your sister's death?
my
And
my
so-
thing is that there's like a general story, like it's like a history, like, you know, because you're gonna chronicle it. It was the biggest event in existence. So there's gonna be a story about it. So they probably told the story of how she and Hawkeye went to Vormir, and Hawkeye was the only one who came back, and people can draw their conclusions.
They
from
just
there.
Yeah.
For some I thought it was gonna be a picture of Thanos.
I'll kill him.
Your next target is Thanos.
He's dead.
Oh my gosh. But I
It's
mean,
a
like,
picture of a cliff. I'm gonna kill this thing.
she already heard from like Nat, like, oh, Barton was on that Budapest Budapest mission with her, and all that stuff. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it's hard because she's grieving, so I don't know if she'd fully blame him or like hear him out because she knows that they were like tight, or I don't know. It's
I don't
weird.
want to see an expansion about the Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts at the end of a Black Widow movie. I just don't. Stop with that bullshit. That would have been a cool end scene in something else, but not in a Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I did not like about this movie.
I do wonder, because I feel like the trailer for Black Widow came out hella early, and like we saw scenes of them like doing ballet, and you thought you'd see more flashbacks of her training to be a Black Widow. But I feel like, do you think there were rewrites after that Red Sparrow movie came out? Because that's basically like the same plot line.
Was basically.
Yeah,
I don't know. All I know is, yeah, go ahead, Vince.
I was just gonna say, like, I think the pandemic really just changed a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I think that they filmed a lot of stuff before, or they couldn't film it because of the pandemic, so they had to just try to fill in wherever they could. So like, maybe what we're seeing now is obviously not in the original script and stuff, where like it probably would have made maybe more sense as an audience. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think so it basically, the scene implies that it's gonna lead into the Hawkeye show. and basically we we all kind of know like she's not gonna be the main villain in Hawkeye. So like you know that she's gonna be there's got to be some type of scene where it's just her, maybe with Clint. Of course, there's like a whole bunch of mixed things going on, and then they eventually become allies and stuff like that. So.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if Hawkeye, like, I mean, this is the first glimpse into what it could lead into, but I thought that it might, like, the Hawkeye show might be more of his time as Ronin. Like, I thought it was going to take place more in the past.
No, it's gonna be about him training Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, what else was I going to say? This is
So-
our first like movie where they cross into the TV series. I mean, it's
Oh,
Valentina,
that's true.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so it's a minor character, but still leading into what we have now.
Which is cool. Like I like how Disney's doing that because you're trying to get more audience viewership, like to go with the movies, to go with the show. So like everything has to be connected. So if you really want to know what's going on in the MCU, you pretty much have to watch both.
Yeah. It helps that I mean, it sucks that the series are so short, but it helps that it's short just for the average user.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I had with this movie. Okay. You go into the movie knowing that Black Widow is going to die in the future. So everything you
Right.
do in this movie has to be impactful. It has to expand upon the character and give you a sense of like what could have been if she still lived or something like that. Something to expand upon her how do you say it? Her
Legacy.
give her some type of legacy because you know she's going to die somehow. And I felt like one thing limiting that is the fact that it was a prequel set in the recent past. Like that didn't make any sense to me. It shouldn't have been during the Civil War time. It should have been like an origin story even, or like it could have set up stuff for the future. And the only thing it set up was that stupid Valentina team, which has nothing to do with Black Widow. I felt like it could have been more impactful if it was like kind of an origin story and it showed Black Widow like on her own before she became an Avenger. Like we get to hear those stories. If it actually included the whole her story and it showed Clint and how they came to be like good friends, that would have been dope. And then like, because they had high expectations for this movie. They thought it was going to introduce like mutants.
But that's what I'm saying is I feel like originally when we first saw our first glimpse of like any kind of teaser for this movie, I feel like it was supposed to be an origin story because we never saw scenes of the ballet or like really.
No. From the beginning, they said it was going to be set during like after Civil War.
Okay. All those teasers and stuff of like hinting at like how they're trained in the Red Room, like we never saw that mansion they're in. We only saw them training in like a literal Red Room on the helicarrier.
But also like
go ahead.
The whole thing, I didn't hear anything about like people expecting mutants and stuff like that. But that's just the internet being the internet. You know, that's just like just overhyping it themselves.
I know.
So like,
I didn't expect mutants to be introduced at all. I didn't really expect, because you can't really change the status quo in a prequel movie where the main character, is going to die. And that's another problem I had with it. Like all Marvel movies, one of like, I'd say 40% of that movie's importance is setting up something bigger in the universe. And you can't do that with a Black Widow movie where she's going to die. Like there's no way to change the status quo or raise the stakes when you know Widow's going to die and she's not going to be a part of a larger story. And so that's why we got this stupid Valentina end credit shit. Like it could have been much more meaningful if it was a solid like origin story where we got to see her interaction with Hawkeye. Maybe even do what they did in like Captain America where, or the first Captain America, where it was like mostly flashback, but it also includes like present day. So like you kind of juxtapose that, so you're telling some kind of meaningful narrative that adds something to the Black Widow story. I felt like this whole story could have just not existed, and
I feel like this was more to set up Yelena. So I mean, for most of the people carrying the legacy of the Avengers that had passed away, they're all going to be part of the Young Avengers. But Yelena is kind of carrying on that Black Widow legacy, but like she's older, she's going to be on her own more.
But
so
if that was the case,
Barton.
Then they should have given more time to Yelena's character, not just an end credit scene. It's
feel
kind of
like
tough 'cause,
they
like
I
it's a
feel like
Black
they
Widow
balanced
movie.
it. They
I
balanced their
thought they did.
characters. And
No,
for
she had
Nat,
good.
most
She
of
had
it,
good moments. She had good moments, but like you never got the sense that it was foreshadowing that Yelena would take over the mantle as Black Widow.
I don't know, because I mean, like their fight scenes, they're pretty on par. Nat, for the most part, was just full of remorse and just is just tying up loose ends for like her past and her whole thing about her ledger and stuff. But for Yelena, like most of the story was driven from her. Like she was the one that was detoxified. She sent the vials to Nat and like got the team back together and stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like it was more a Yelena story setting her up than like that whole thing with Nat.
Yeah. No, I'm more on that side too. Like in terms of setting up Yelena's future in the MCU and stuff like that. Like I think they did a good job in that sense.
I
I don't
agree.
like her being a part of Valentina's team though.
I don't like
wanted
that
Nat-
either.
I wanted Nat to like invite her to like the Avengers when they're finally together again.
Yeah. I agree that it would have been cooler to see an origin story. I feel like the fact that the larger audience has already seen Red Sparrow would ruin that because it's kind of on the same vein.
Fuck Red Sparrow. We're talking about Marvel.
I know that, but I'm saying like for that, trying to get the average like theater goer, not just like hardcore fans, like that part of it.
That was another problem I had with this movie is the tone of it. Like I really thought it was gonna have like the Winter Soldier spy thriller vibes, where there's like this.
It's more family.
This
Kind of did.
this overarching
espionage.
mystery, like you could have had like, oh, is Dreykov still alive? It was so clear that he was still alive from the beginning. Like they could have had more mystery, more spy thriller, more espionage elements to it. It was very action movie. There's a lot of set pieces, a lot of explosions and big avalanches and car chases, which Winter Soldier had, but it also had the narrative elements to create that intrigue, which I thought Black Widow was completely missing. It was all
she was more of a spy in like in Captain America movies than in her own movie.
Tell me why Captain America's movie is more spy thriller than her movie. It's like,
yeah. Well, they even say it was there's one
Russo's, dude.
There's one throwaway comment when Red Guardian, he was trying to say how proud he was of them as a father, but he said like, Yelena, you're the youngest child assassin. No one can match your ruthlessness. And Natasha, you are the like international spy, not just toppling regimes, but like Natasha was more of the spy, and then Yelena was more of the mercenary assassin for hire. But I don't know, like I enjoyed it for what it was.
I just got Captain Marvel vibes where if this movie didn't exist, nothing would change much. Like besides having a new character.
I thought this movie was way better than Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I was not feeling Captain Marvel like at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I think a lot of it also does have to do with the timing and everything. Like I think Black Widow should have got her own movie
long ago.
Yeah.
I feel like
and
if she got it,
I mean, it's held back so much by the fact that it was a prequel set in the recent past. Like you don't get anything out of it. It's like, who cares what she did after Civil War? We already know it cuts to Infinity War and they're on the run. That's already more interesting than anything you could present directly after Civil War because she's still on the run. If you're going to do a prequel, you need to go like in the past where it matters, where it's like character building.
I feel like in the Marvel MCU timeline, if they had given her a movie sooner, then we could have like gone further back, like into the origin story or actually seeing Budapest instead of just hearing about what happened and what culminated in it. But I think it's that whole political balancing where it's like, how well will a female hero movie do in this climate right now? Like they kept pushing it back. No, they kept pushing her movie.
They kept pushing her movie back because they wanted the theater profits. They kept holding out that the pandemic.
No, I'm saying
up, and then they could get theater tickets.
I'm saying before the pandemic, didn't they announce the Black Widow movie before they announced the Black Panther movie, and then they switched it in the timeline so that Black Panther came out first?
I don't recall that.
Oh, that I don't know.
I thought that they had announced that they were making a Black Widow movie like way, way long ago before the pandemic, but they kept moving her in the timeline because they ended up making it a prequel movie.
First of all, you're super tripping talking about women
and
blockbusters because she was already in Lucy, which was a blockbuster, and basically her being Black Widow in that movie. Ultraviolet, what else? Atomic Blonde. So many female-led action movies, so I don't buy that excuse. I feel like they were trying to push it back just to get the maximum amount of sales. And I feel like all that pushback for that, like, come on, you should have just dropped it right away, knowing that it wasn't going to be that big of a hit. In my opinion, it was not.
I mean,
it was
there's
an
a lot of
unneeded story. Like, we didn't need to hear the story. There's nothing like game changing about it that happened. We get to know about Yelena, but that's about it.
I guess there's a lot of female-led action movies, but I feel like there's not a lot of female-led comic movies. Like, I don't know why that's a difference, but I feel like that is a difference. Like Captain Marvel didn't do very well. I
I mean,
feel like
Wonder Woman did okay, so that's still set a precedent. So it's not impossible.
Oh,
yeah.
That's probably the precedent right now. Is the whole Wonder Woman.
I don't know, the direction, the whole story, like all of it. Just come on.
I get it.
You should have gave this. You should have gave this to the Russos. You should have gave it to.
They need to do every single Marvel movie, dude.
Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely as writers, the Russos as directors. You can't go wrong, dude. They would have knocked this spy thriller out of the park. But I don't know. We got it like a B action movie. Not many spy elements, and the narrative was just lacking to me. So I didn't really like it.
I feel like they had to cut straight to the point. I don't know.
It was so long, dude. It was 2 hours. I was feeling that time.
Yeah.
I'm like, they could have cut out a lot of shit.
It was longer than 2 hours. It was like maybe 2 hour 15.
Like, I think it was
not only was the story generic, it wasn't concise. So I don't know.
The movie was 2 hours, but then it was 2:15 in total with credits and stuff, the post credits and everything. I don't know. I liked it. I
didn't hate it. I was offended by how average it was.
I had issues with Taskmaster. That was the biggest thing. But the rest of it, I was fine.
I turned it off and I was like, come on, man. She died for the reality stone. How are you going to treat her like that? Taskmaster. God, what a cardinal sin.
Was it? It was a soul stone.
Was it? Oh, it was a soul stone.
Yeah, it's a soul stone.
Just a hater, Kuya.
I'm not a hater, dude. I really wanted this to be like.
You're a poser.
Could have been so much better. It was a by the numbers action movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Could have been better. But overall, I still a lot of little things, but the things I liked about it, I think it outweighed my negative things.
It was the opposite. The little good moments that I liked weren't enough to outweigh the things that I didn't like.
I will say
bad things being Taskmaster largely because I like him as a character so much.
Yeah, a lot of the plot was kind of like predictable. Like the whole thing about Taskmaster being the daughter, I was kind of like, I kind of already knew before they revealed it. And then
I didn't know, but even then you don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing invested in that character. It's just a Terminator chasing down Scarlett Johansson. Like, that villain gets no backstory. And it's because it's linked to a stupid like plot twist.
Yeah.
You can't
I still
have
liked
a
it
compelling
though.
hero without a compelling villain. And you could have had one with Taskmaster. I don't know.
I still liked it. Okay. Next week we will cover the end of Loki, the last 2 episodes.
Yes.
Yup.
So last week's and this coming week. I don't know
what's up next, dude. What's up next on the slate? What else can we talk about after Loki's done?
Let me see.
Something's coming out in August. I forgot what it is.
It wouldn't be Shang-Chi, would it?
I think it's Shang-Chi. Let me see.
But damn, that's still August. That's like weeks away.
What if is in the summer?
Coming out.
Oh, what if?
Yeah.
I haven't watched that trailer yet.
It's good. The trailer is good.
I think I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna go in cold and just.
Oh man.
It's cartoons though, right? Which I'm
cartoons. Yeah. So what if is the next animated
Dope.
episodes that Marvel's gonna release, but it's tied into.
It's voiced by the OG actors too.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. It
so
is the last Chadwick Boseman performance.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
I heard him in the trailer, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be hyped for that.
So I think it's Chadwick, Thor, Loki. They're all coming back to voice. I don't think Doctor Strange or Captain Marvel are coming back. They're still in their movies, but they're not in the What If animated. And it's basically the whole like, what if this storyline happened? And it's craziness. Go watch the trailer.
Yeah.
No,
trailer's nice.
When does that drop? Because I'm not even gonna watch the trailer.
It says summer 2021. Shang-Chi drops in September. Eternals is in November. Shit. Hawkeye series is late 2021. They don't have a date yet.
God damn. Hawkeye's been in production for.
I thought something was coming up soon.
And then Marvels is coming out. Is it the Marvels or just Marvels?
Marvel's Eternals, right?
It's Eternals in November, Hawkeye is late 2021, and
The
then
fuck is Marvels?
Marvel's.
Yeah, what is
That's
that?
the new Captain Marvel. It's not called Captain Marvel 2. It's like the Marvels or something. It's like
Oh, because
plural.
I think it's introducing Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So
think-
it's
Hey, I heard
Captain
there's
Marvel
go-
and Miss Marvel.
I heard there's gonna be fuck, what's his name? A War Machine show. It's called like
Yeah, Iron
War for
Horse.
the- Iron War. That's gonna be fucking sick, dude. Oh my god, I'm hyped for that. I don't even know when that's dropping.
Oh wait. I correct myself. Hawkeye series Miss Marvel is standalone, and then the Marvels is next year.
All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. Das Vidania, comrades. Thanks for sticking with us with this terrible movie. Could have been better, but we'll see you next episode. I'm not Wakandan, but my bionic arm enhanced. Just say the words, I'm activated like a Nazi trance. Catch vibranium to your cranium, wanna glance. Full body cast from a Cyclops optic blast. I doubt you crews prepared for this hit. Catch a glimpse of who I'm with, have you scared of the clip? No heart-shaped herbs or any terrigen myths. I'm taking out your ankles on some anti-carrion shit.